Let us begin our meeting, and so that we work well, please tune in to respective channels. If you need to listen in English, find a globe and choose the English channel. And today we are going to communicate on the platform that gives us this opportunity. This is International Foundation I Live Consciously, together with World Healthy Living Foundation. It's so beautiful. We have to not only understand life, but also be healthy. My name is Lyudmila Balavaya. I'm doctor in medicine, immunologist, geneticist of highest category, and I know that we have new people here today, so I will briefly introduce myself. 37 years officially in medicine, 20 years a military doctor, 26 years professionally working in orthomolecular medicine. I'm also an expert there. And as far as I understand, also of highest category. During this period, I was not just looking for knowledge, but as a scientist, I researched supplements of 5 serious global companies on the market. And I also spoke at 15 international medical conferences that happened in 7 countries. So, today we have an interesting topic. Goodbye, summer. How to ease the body's transition into autumn. And I think the slide is amazing. Do you have the document to transit? And what we mean by those documents is our health. So, September. When we translate this word from Latin, it's 7. It would seem for us it's the 9th month. So why is it 7? In English, they use the same Latin word, September. So, where do we get this number 7 if we know that it's the 9th month? The thing is that this month is 7th from the beginning of the year in nature, according to the old Roman calendar by Julius Caesar, who you see here on the slide. Why did they believe March to be the first month? Because they were closer to nature, they watched nature, and they saw that in March a new life begins. And so they believed that to be the start. And they had Roman numerals, so that's how they counted. And September was the 7th month. That's how we get this name of the month. So what happens there? What changes happen in nature? So the Earth is farther and farther from the sun. Our planet goes farther from warmth. As a result, the day is shorter, the night is longer, and gradually coolness comes in the nights. During the day, if it's sunny, it can still be hot, but nights are colder and colder. And if you pay attention to the heaven, you see the difference, because in spring and in summer, the sky is very high and it's blue. But in autumn, you see as if the sky is lower and it's grayer, and there are rains, there is fog, and even some first frost. So nights are colder and colder and colder. And today it's the 3rd of September, the very beginning. So now two changes. Just a moment, someone tells me something. Yes, I mixed the dates. I said it's the 2nd, but it's the 3rd of September. Yes, I beg your pardon. Okay, so it's 3rd of September. So these were changes in unliving nature. Now changes in living nature. As I live in Ukraine, then in Ukrainian language, September is Veresень. It's not a number 7. It's a name of a plant, heather. You can see heather on the slide. But by the way, in Belarusian language, September also takes its name from the plant heather. Why? Because, once again, people watched nature. And they didn't just count numbers, but they watched the changes in nature. So why heather? Because heather in September stops flowering. So that's the end, meaning the end of summer. As soon as this plant stops flowering, then it's autumn. So what are the changes in living nature? The colors change. Yes, beautiful colors come, like yellow, orange, red, brown. And in September, we already get our first yellow leaves, and there are some leaves that have already fallen. And when wind comes, there's more and more leaves down. And also, the juices in the plants leave the plant, the leaves, so leaves fall down. And now about animals, do they get ready for winter? Yes, they make reserves for winter, mostly rodents. Also, animals eat a lot to have fat for winter. By the way, think about your body and your body's reserves. Many animals have different changes. They change hair, they change the color of the hair. Some prepare for sleeping. For example, hedgehogs and bears. As to birds, they also have interesting change. Some birds prepare to fly away, to migrate. Some have already flown away. As to insects, the same thing. They prepare for winter. And an interesting thing, when flies disappear, when +6 is an average temperature Celsius, then flies go into hibernation. But somebody wakes up at this point. You know who? Viruses wake up. That's their spring. For viruses, it's a spring. The nature has no calendar, but they have the laws of nature, because everything in nature gets ready for winter, and autumn is the period of preparation for winter. So do you think we are an exception? No, no way. We humans too are children of nature. Therefore, we also have certain changes within on cellular level. And no matter how cunning we are and smart we are, and we know a lot of things, sometimes too many things, and it's even harmful to us. And despite all that, our body has its laws. So what happens in our body? With every day we get less and less ultraviolet, less and less sunshine. So what happens in our body? Deficit of ultraviolet makes fatigue, tiredness grow, sleepiness, stress, metabolism slows down to keep warmth for winter. And we have a bigger appetite, which we didn't, what we didn't want to eat in summer, now we want satiating for more and more. We are children of nature, so these laws work on us. Melatonin decreases. What if this didn't happen? Night is longer. So if melatonin didn't go down, we would sleep more and more. So the hormonal regulation of day and night changes. Hormonal background changes. And our feelings, our emotions become more acute. Our worries grow, but also our creativity grows. We have a muse. So the body, like nature, whose part we are, has its own changes, and we have to understand that. Possibly, and most probably, you know that, but maybe you haven't thought about it. Here we go. Why? During summer, we eat a lot of greens, vitamins, minerals, and everything natural, everything good, everything maybe even from our own garden or market, from good eco-friendly producers. And we also get a suntan, get sufficient D vitamin. We go to warm countries. We take our children to the sea. Everything is wonderful. And then the fall comes. And what starts? We start having snot and cough and sneezing and chronic diseases exacerbate. What happens to our body? What chronic conditions exacerbate in autumn? Here, the main ones are listed, and let me explain why, so that you would understand. So, the diseases of upper respiratory ways, so different mild colds, rhinitis, and so on. Then next is urinary and reproductive system diseases, cystitis, gynecological problems, kidneys. Next, joint diseases, arthritis, rheumatism. Once again, they become stronger. Why? Because someone wakes up. For example, streptococcus increases rheumatism, and then ulcerous processes increase in digestive system. People who have ulcers know that in autumn it increases. Why? Who began military attacks on them? Helicobacter pylori. It's a microbe, and it's season. Then cardiovascular diseases. Why the whole system suffers? Because there is a change of temperatures, so there are spasms in vessels, and there are problems. Blood pressure jumps, and it's not fun. As if there was no summer, and as if there was no preparation for all of that. So then, and in autumn, we have viral epidemics and even pandemics. So what happens to us? Why have we been not prepared for autumn? Who to blame and what to do are eternal questions. So I suggest you look within and once again see that nature is smarter than us, and we should not counteract it, but be friends with its laws. What do we see here? Liver. So, as I have already said, our body regulates or responds independently, no matter how smart we are. It responds to nature. So within our body, something happens on cellular level. And there we have changes. And depending on whether it's day or night, summer or winter, spring or autumn, our head doesn't take part in the decisions because it lags behind from the body. Because our brain is several so our cerebral cortex is very thin. That's our civilization. But the whole brain is instinctive. That's different. That's a body instinct. And we do not outsmart it. And our body has to prepare for cold. So in autumn, our body prepares for it so that we do not overcool. So we have, what is our heating organ that will heat us up? It's the hottest organ in the body, and that's liver. Yes, 10% of all the blood of your body is in the liver. And in 1 hour, 90 liters of blood goes through it. Every minute, 1.5 liters of blood. So it's very hot. And that's the only organ that is ready for self-restoration. It can restore itself. And it's always the youngest. From all the organs we have, with age, our organs grow old, but liver is the youngest. And when the liver is healthy, in the East, they call it the Valley of Joy. So Oriental doctors call the liver the Valley of Joy. A beautiful name, right? And liver performs many functions, but in the autumn, let me emphasize, according to the laws of nature, its first task is preparation of the body for it not to grow cold in winter. So it's our heating organ. So it synthesizes bile more and more quality. So it's a mature bile. So what are the functions of liver? Of course, liver takes part in all the metabolism and everything, but now briefly so that you understand why in autumn these functions are most important. So first, metabolism of all proteins, carbohydrates, etc. Liver takes part. Next, detoxification. It's a fashionable topic, cleansing and so on and so forth. We talk a lot about it. But what do we need to know? When does it happen? We have to know, especially now in autumn. This function happens by night from 1 to 3 a.m. Liver takes toxins out of the body and first of all cleanses the body from ammonia from 1 to 3 a.m. And if it slows down, then there are problems and the body knows it has to prepare for winter, so it starts to put all the energy to help this filter. And then this energy makes a person wake up at 3 a.m. And where do we go? To the restroom to urinate. Why? Because the first filter, liver, cannot fully perform. Therefore, the second filter starts working. And second filter is kidneys with bladder, which should work by day and sleep by night without making us go the whole night. But the second filter has to work when the first one slows down. So if the first filter slows down, which is the liver, then there's an interesting connection. then our legs suffer. Why? Our legs start to ache. You might have heard people complain, especially older people complain. But why do their legs ache? Here is why. Because a second filter starts to work. And also then eyesight goes down. So that's the detoxification function. If it slows down, and other organs have to help, which means there is psychosomatic diseases come into play, which is connected to a nerve. And psychosomatic is fear of losing, unexplainable anxiety, complaints. Some people get irritated. Some simply start a shouting match. That's what happens. Next function of liver is hematopoietic blood formation. This function has been recently studied a lot since COVID-19. Why? Because the liver is connected to blood coagulation, vitamin K, which is connected to thrombs. So during the pandemic, we spoke a lot about thrombs, and that's what liver has to help us with. It has to prepare the body for winter, no matter how smart we are, and it has to do that. Then it takes part in immune system. It biotransforms hormones. Liver synthesizes globulin that connects sex hormones, and it's directly connected to testosterone. And then it's a problem of men's health. Next, digestive function. Well, mostly participation of liver, because the liver itself is not a part of digestive system. However, it directly takes part in it, participates, because it synthesizes bile, which is so important for us in winter, and will help us absorb fats and fat-soluble vitamins. So what are the signs of the disorder of the detoxification function? Our liver doesn't ache, but what are the signs? For example, no appetite. People say, I don't have breakfast, I don't want to eat. That's one sign. Then dry skin, and then pigment spots, different lipomas on the body, papillomas. It's also a greeting from liver. Then lips become less elastic, less flexible. They start have as if wrinkles, and then you have to help your first filter. Next, osteochondrosis with sudden pain, like people feel like a sudden pain. This also a signal of that second filter, that you have to have your first filter, the liver. Next, unstable work of the gut. You have constipation, dry in our ears. Normally, our earwax is oily and sticky, but then it can become, dry, and it's like drop, like crumbs. This is also a symbol of deficit of detoxification. So what does liver need? It needs fats, protein, and normal food. I think with fats, everything is clear. First of all, it's fast-soluble vitamins and increasing of bile flow. so that you easily go to the restroom. Then minerals, different minerals, but first and foremost, magnesium is necessary for our liver. And why do we need vitamins and minerals in general? To synthesize enzymes. Without enzymes, everything stops. And liver has a lot of enzymes, so magnesium is very important. And then iron will be absorbed better. Then about proteins, please look at the slide. We have proteins there. For liver, it's very good to have dairy proteins. 6,000 years ago, humanity already had the genes of lacticity. So they have found out that. And some now have this gene asleep or working badly, different reasons, but still it's very important for the liver. And now, when there is a new fashion, well, we had the fashion not to have cholesterol, then something else, the fashions come and go. But people get confused. There is the dairy fat, there is dairy protein, and there is dairy sugar, and all that is in the milk. And all these three things, from the point of view of biochemistry, work very differently in the body. Now, about intolerance that we hear a lot about. When people cannot tolerate lactose, you have heard about it. But let me tell you something. So, proteins and fats in dairy, we know. And now let's talk about dairy sugar. Dairy sugar is lactose. It's the same carbohydrate as glucose, fructose, and so on. Ose means carbohydrate. So lactose, and by the way, for every carbohydrate, body has an enzyme to work on it. And the enzyme here is lactase. So if our gut synthesizes this enzyme, then it works. If it doesn't synthesize this enzyme, then we cannot tolerate. But not everybody, right? So what happens next? This lactase takes lactose, the dairy sugar, and splits it until lactic acid. But do we need acids? Of course, we do need organic acids. Because in our stomach we have acid. We know what's acetylsalicylic acid. It's aspirin, antioxidants, acid, betulin acid, which removes allergy and helps with bronchial asthma. And there is also apple acid and so on and so forth, lemon acid and so on. Organic acids are very, very necessary to the body. Why? For the Krebs cycle to work, those who know biochemistry understand what I'm talking about. This is very, very important. And all these processes, if they happen normally without overdoing, like and not going into extremity, then it will work. Otherwise, we have problems are cardiology, neurology, toxicology, and so on and so forth. So what should we do? Turns out, how can we remove dairy sugar from milk? Only the dairy sugar is a problem in milk, and it's easily removed. You just need it to be split. And if you have lactic bacteria, then we have different dairy products and which have no problems. And And if you have a normal acid in your stomach, then you have no problem with fermented milk. Even if your secretory function is down, people still can easily take fermented milk products and have no problems. Listen to your body, I beg you. All people are different. We cannot be the same, and so we cannot categorically prohibit everybody from everything.
I sometimes hear these things, and sometimes they are ridiculous, and sometimes they are tragic. And Janet Coleman, who is a dietitian, she recommends to have for breakfast. And you do understand, she is a renowned specialist. She recommends including C vitamin containing fruit for breakfast, such as lemons, oranges, cranberries, especially for those who had COVID. And she does not recommend substitutes for sugar. And why is that? I also came across in my studies, and no one is allowed to eat sugar, etc. But we need to keep our head calm. And these substitutes for sugar are a threat. Why is that? First of all, the platelet activity increases, and platelets are the cells, and remember, hematopoietic function of the liver. When platelets make clusters, forming blood clots. And secondly, these sugar substitutes contribute to candida, which is a fungi, synthesis, and it leads to fermentation in the intestines, and that process is caused exactly by these substitutes for sugar. So that is quite interesting. You need to take these all nuances into account. There are many different discoveries, but it is necessary to understand the entire picture of the world on the macro and micro level. Please don't follow yet another fashion. Please stop and think about it. It's never possible that everyone is not allowed to do something, or everyone is allowed to eat a specific food. And that is how the science develops. And apple falls down. It fell down before Newton, during Newton times, after Newton. And where can you find the truth? You can find it in the laws of the nature. So let's continue. Main functions of the liver, what will keep us warm. You can see a very creative slide right now. So everything that will keep us warm in winter. It will depend on quantity and quality of bile. And the functions are emulsification of fats, meaning they are divided into very small particles. Imagine when you wash dishes, alkaline reaction. If you just use water to wash your dishes, then it will seem to be clean, but if you touch it, it will be oily or fatty. And if you use an alkaline solution, it will be squeaky clean. The same goes for our body, and fats are dissolved thanks to bile. There are fat-soluble vitamins A, D, K. They are also dissolved by bile, and they are also quickly absorbed. Sodium, salt, and cholesterol, please pay attention. We get 20% of cholesterol with food, 20%. And bile also participates in this process. And not a very long time ago, although many people may seem it was a long time ago, there were discussions that cholesterol is very bad, you should not eat eggs, etc. And it turned out that eggs are very necessary because it contains protein and fat-soluble proteins, etc. This is just the marketing. When a discovery is made, marketologists, marketing specialists seize this opportunity to do business. Then it also helps to improve intestinal peristalsis. It helps avoid constipation. There is no constipation if there is a sufficient quality and quantity of bile. Another interesting function of the bile is bacteriostatic function or bacteriostatic effect. We have one strong antibiotic in our body, and that is bile. All bacteria, viruses, fungi, and parasites only develop in acidic environment. We are not sterile, of course, and it all gets into our stomach. And when everything goes on from the stomach into the intestines, there must be good alkaline reaction. And this reaction is going to stop this acidic environment. And what happens? The duodenum, where everything goes to, we have pancreas, its activity in the duodenum, but it needs a reaction. And for that reaction, it needs the bile. When is bile excreted? When we have something fatty into our body, but we should not forget about the quality of the bile. When you eat something fatty, you might feel that your pancreas hurts. Why is that? Because there wasn't sufficient bile, or the quality of bile was not sufficient because the environment was still acidic. Then alkalization of everything that gets into the gastrointestinal system. We have pepsin in the stomach, and pepsin is also get alkalized. So acid must stop there. And if we have a lot of this pepsin, it will not be beneficial for the pancreas. So it was then the fault of the liver and the bile. Then breaks down proteins, it warms up the body, then excretes metabolic products, various salts, medicines. If you check any leaflet for any medicine, what you will see, the excretion period, the first filter is the liver or kidneys. So you need to understand that bile participates in these processes. Then hormones as well, and cholesterol, not the one that you got with food, but cholesterol that has been processed. And many people know, oh, I have high level of cholesterol, and they start reducing cholesterol. Okay, we reduce the level of cholesterol. Where does this cholesterol go? It needs to be excreted into the intestines to be able to excrete it from the body. Then it can dissolve salt residues in the joints. Bile helps that not only in joints but also in the spine. And osteochondrosis is related to various aches and pains, and that is the reason. And it also regulates neuroreflex mechanisms. And our main organs are liver and the quality of bile. That is important, and that is how you can get ready for autumn, for winter, and avoid diseases. So you can see our important products, Duolife Day, Duolife Night, but wait a second, I might have missed the general recommendations. So normalization of the sleep, because sleep is very important. Physical activities, what kind of activities? Different activities, but you need to avoid the situations when there is no bile outflow and no lymph outflow. You need to ensure its circulation. Then positive attitude, positive perception of the life. And I want to tell you that is the truth. It is very, very important. And we have cells in our head, in our brain, and some of them produce happiness hormones, others produce stress hormones, and that is very unfair to be able to get rid of 1 unit of stress. Our brain needs to produce seven units of hormone of happiness. I think that isn't exactly fair. And why is that? Because what is the situation related to? If you don't get enough joy and happiness, you will accumulate stress hormones that will result in issues with the liver, and then it will result in many other issues with the legs, etc., etc. So you need to add positive emotions 7 times more. The nature helps living, love helps surviving, and humor helps overcoming. So that is a nice expression I like very much. There is another method. I've tried it on my own, and everyone needs to walk a certain number of steps, like 500 steps up the stairs. But you don't count like 1, 2, 3. No, you can count like this: 500, 499, 498, 497, etc. And then someone says hello to you, or you forget what it was, and you start counting from the very beginning, from 500. So that helps a lot. Of course, we all need water. Then another interesting story I want to tell you. Look at Western people. They all have plastic bottles, children, adults, what all kinds of bottles, plastic bottles. And look at Chinese people, for example, they all have thermal flasks. And what they have it there? Chinese tea, green tea, and marketing specialists started claiming that green tea is very helpful, very healthy and beneficial. No one says it's not beneficial, but that was a wave of marketing resulting in pandemic of green tea. And there are people who should not take it. It is contraindicated to them. But what Chinese have in their flasks? They have clean hot water. It helps excretion of bile in the morning. It helps restore hydration. It helps diluting and thinning the blood. And there is also mineral water, but not everyone knows that there are different kinds of mineral water. There is simple potable water, and there is also diet relation. And this potable water, it doesn't have strong mineralization. It is still or sparkling, etc. You can drink a lot of it, and when it is sparkling, you will get absorbed faster. And this health-oriented water, it comes from different sources like Borjomi and other sources. And this health-oriented water has strong mineralization, and it is only beneficial for the body for 2 weeks only, because these minerals 2 weeks later will go into the joints, into the spine, etc. So you need to remember that, you need to take note of that. And another thing I like to mention, how to cleanse your liver. There are some plants that are beneficial. For example, you can use rose hips, for example, but you need to use one plant for the first filter, such as, for example, rose hips or maybe birch elements, etc. And for the second filter, there are special mixtures. Some people think the more plants you use, the better it is for the liver, but that is not the case, and you need to use special mixtures. And supplementation, that's what we are going to talk about today. So another thing that is very important for our health is to have an objective, a goal, an aim. How is it related to health? But it has been known for a long time that people who have an objective in life, they don't work as much because of, or thanks to, sympathetic nervous system that gives additional energy. And there is a wonderful person who unfortunately passed away not a long time ago, Rada Granovska, and she is a person, she held the PhD of psychology. She was the professor of the Baltic Academy of Sciences, of the International Academy of Archaeology. It's an interesting branch of science. That's not what we're going to talk about. But her studies for many decades show that people who have an objective, even in infectious barracks in these terrible times, they did not fall ill, because the nature then turns on the protective mechanisms thanks to that the energy. So I do hope we all, like you all, have an aim and objective in life. So now let's continue with our products that are accessible to us. And what do we have? We have a wonderful couple or pair. I have even a separate webinar dedicated to these products, Duo Life Day and Duo Life Night. We can't escape the laws of nature. We can't escape the nature itself. And you understand, I told you in the beginning that the duration of the light day changes, we change, nature changes. So are you sure that you get everything you need for this process? There are also people who need to regulate, who are susceptible to some issues. First of all, patients, especially chronic patients, elderly people, people suffering from insomnia, people with jet lags, or those who suffer from the change of summertime to wintertime. These two products will help adjust your biorhythms. Dual Life Day is a product, it is a composition that helps to reduce autumn blues or depression. There is this natural somnolence, and it will give you energy, a boost of energy to pursue your objectives. So we do have great objectives. Dual Life Night, it plays a special role in autumn. What I want to say is people who started taking Dual Life Night in September, in October, in autumn, when there are all these adjustments and changes in our liver, they felt Dual Life Night. They said, yeah, Dual Life Day was so-so, but I felt Dual Life Night much better. That is not a surprise, because that's what the body needs. Our body needs this help. That is our power bank, our liver, and it needs our help. So both products contain 13 extracts that contribute to and help the processes in day or at night. And that is like big cleaning with a metabolic swipe will help to clean the liver, to ensure proper quantity and high quality of bile. So instead of using the second filter at night, after 3 o'clock, the kidneys that make us go to restroom, Dual Life Night will help you with that. The organs that will also receive help are the colon and the lungs. They will help detoxify the body according to the natural laws. So that is a wonderful duet that will make not only physical life healthier, because it makes no sense to live 100 years and have an Alzheimer. No, that's not what we want. We want to remain healthy, sound, because helplessness is the most terrible thing when you're old. Dual Life Aloes, that is a very important plant. It has such a strong immune system. Can you imagine? This plant existed even before the dinosaurs. This aloes. Can you imagine how strong its immune system is? So why do we need a complex composition when aloes is so strong? So 100% of Mexican aloes with pulp, juice and pulp, without its skin, because its skin contains protective toxic substances against bacteria, against insects, and these substances made sure that this plant was able to survive during these thousands of years. Juice and pulp contain more than 200 components with high biological activities. They contain ferments that make the environment alkaline. Strong antimicrobial effect helps to heal wounds. This is called phytosanation or phytoremediation. It has a mild bile-excreting effect, and that is important in autumn. Next ingredient is wildflower honey. It contains vitamins and proteins, but I would like to mention one component. It contains oxidant peroxide, and it is a very strong antioxidant, and that is the only substance that can never go bad, the only substance known to humans. Honey that was found in Egyptian pyramids is completely suitable for consumption. Its quality is still the same, so it will help in case of chronic diseases and in case of autumn exacerbations or flare-ups. And oregano extract 3% of essential oils. It contains quercetin. It enhances lymph circulation, and lymph, as you know, rinses all organs and helps to cleanse the body. So what's next? ProSelect. ProSelect is very interesting. That is a formula that is the main product for our liver. Why is that? Because it is immunocorrector of indirect effect, immunomodulator that does not stimulate, it regulates, it helps our immune system, and it helps our liver, which is the organ number one in autumn. So what happens? How does it act? As a vacuum cleaner, it excretes free radicals. It carries out cleansing, drainage of lymph and blood. It gives a boost of energy. It reduces tiredness, mental, emotional tiredness, which is normal in autumn. ProSelect, you can remember it sounds like selection. What is selection? Selection means to select pure breeds of animals or pure species of plants. And that also makes us pure from the inside. It protects us from from various factors, damaging effects of various factors. A few words about its formula, just a couple of words. You can also see the holy plant of inks. How does it sound? Yes, it sounds great. Then people who live more than 100 years, but they are not like vegetables. They are active, they work, they have a clear mind, and they haven't met their Alzheimer yet. So they all have a high level of polyamides. And where can we find them? In which products? And please pay attention. They are contained in the mushrooms of immortality, the mushrooms of Holy Buddha. And what kind of mushrooms? That is reishi. And the mushrooms of sleeping Buddha are shiitake, but please don't think they are the mushrooms you can buy in the supermarkets, because what you buy is for consumption. There are also medicinal mushrooms with a special composition, and this formula makes sure that we can remain energetic, full of energy, and keep a clear mind. So, dual spirulina. That is one of the dual formulas that holds a special place. It stands apart from other formulas. And why is that? Because it is an adaptogen and it contains, but please notice that there are a lot of companies now offering spirulina in the market. That is quite normal because this is a unique substance. Why is that? Because it contains a full set of amino acids, 18 out of 24, all essential non-replaceable amino acids, and it gets absorbed. 96% get absorbed. So what are amino acids? They are bricks forming proteins. Let me tell you one sentence, just one sentence, and believe me, or you can check other sources of the information. And spirulina has a special way of placing these bricks. Please remember the number 32. We have limited time and we have a different topic. You can check yourself amino acids and spirulina. Among all these amino acids, there is one completely unique acid, which is called arginine. What kind of acid, amino acid is it? All amino acids, they have things in common, but this is the only one that has 4 nitrogen bases. There is no other amino acid like this. So why is it special? What do these nitrogen groups do? They make synthesis of nitrogen oxide, and that is a gas. And please pay attention, arginine molecules receive from every cell, every organ, signals which organ needs what from food, from the blood flow, and they ensure that these organs, these cells get that, and that is incredible. The nature is full of miracles and full of unknown things. So our head receives that signal and understands that some organs want tomatoes, some organs want cucumbers, some organs want cottage cheese, etc. When you feel like having, like eating something, that's because of that signal from a specific cell or a specific organ that they need vitamins or they need something else. And there are a lot of biologically active substances. So that's how this process happens. And spirulina contributes to this process. What I want to tell you about spirulina that you might remember, it has also cysteine. It's another amino acid in the liver. And you know, liver is #1 right now. The liver synthesizes taurine using this amino acid, and that is not protein essential molecule amino acid that is extremely important for the health of our liver in autumn, for the health of our brain cells, for our nervous system to remain healthy. And it has a lot of other functions, but we keep to our today's topic. So that is the formula maintaining the normal acidic alkaline balance. And we all know what that is.
Let's go further. Now, chlorophyll. Here, everything is simple. Let's imagine nature again. From green leaves, everything goes away, sunshine goes away, leaves become yellow, losing what? Losing energy. So their battery, so to say, goes down. The same happens to us in autumn, and we have to get our energy from somewhere. And plants appeared much earlier than animals, so they learned to eat and drink the sunshine rays and to preserve it in their leaves. And then when animals appeared, they did not strive to catch the sunshine rays, just started eating the plants. That's how we get our energy. So it's this green sunshine blood, which is called chlorophyll. This is our autumn power bank. And additionally, we can get some energy. The thing is, if we hibernated like hedgehogs or bears, we wouldn't need additional reserve of energy. But we do not hibernate and we do not migrate south like birds. We continue living. We have to study, we have to work, we have to keep doing things. Therefore, we can get this accumulated energy as chlorophyll. And it will empower our immune system, will help absorb iron, will saturate blood with oxygen and nutrients, we will have additional energy, and it will also disinfect us like sunshine from within, you know. And of course, it helps with bile, which we need so much because it's autumn. Then probacillarity. So when we prepare in autumn for winter, it also happens to children, not only to grown-ups. And so it's important how their gut works, how well and regularly they go to the restroom. So about children, those who had or have children in the kindergarten, you know that there is a graph and surnames of children with the records of them going to the potty. Why? To poo. Why? To know how well a child's gut works. Why? Because when we give a child to kindergarten, I think no one forgets the moment how stressed out the child was. It's an awful thing. Some adapt faster, some slower. And so, when do we usually bring children to kindergarten? In summer or in autumn? Mostly in the beginning of autumn. And what happens? There is stress. Stress makes gallbladder spasm and disorder in bile secretion, but the body needs bile. So what happens? Children start to get sick at once. They get all the viruses, etc. So Probactillardi will help resolve this matter. Therefore, don't be lazy to look at child's pooping graph. And if it doesn't happen, then regulate it at home. Otherwise, it's a problem. You have to know what happens with their bile. So this is a complex product that contains of two complementing capsules. The first has symbiotic with probiotics, and this is white capsule, if I'm not mistaken, is what children need. And since 12 years of age, there's a second capsule, postbiotic, which has an acid again as microgranules. And the full composition has been approved through many trials, including oleic acid. So next, melatonin. To regulate your sleep and waking hours, it's what you can take. Because not only those who have problem with sleep needed, though we have to start with liver, as I have explained, especially now in September, but also those who recently quit smoking. That's interesting, right? Why? Because they have shorter sleep by an hour, and you understand why. If you don't, you can ask it later and we will answer. So melatonin is a regulator of sleep and hormone of youth, active antioxidant. And at night, it protects us from alkalogical changes in cells all over the body. Please listen, please note that, because we have many antioxidants, many natural antioxidants, but every antioxidant works in certain direction, in a system, in an organ. But melatonin is an antioxidant for all the cells of our body, all the organs of our body. And it has positive influence on memory. You know that it decreases with age, so it's important. And it's a catalyst of synthesis of certain hormones, including estrogen. So what's interesting here, let's go back to dairy products. There is this hormone called tryptophan, which is in dairy protein that our liver needs. So not dairy sugar, but dairy protein. So in yogurt, kefir, cottage cheese, and of course we also have meat and fish. for that. So tryptophan getting into our body transforms first into serotonin, which is a hormone of joy that we need 7 times more than stress. And you know what happens with stress in autumn. And then later it turns into melatonin, your own melatonin. If we have too little tryptophan, then it's dangerous. The deficit of this substance leads to the deficit of B3 vitamin, and then parts of brain start dying, and then hello, Alzheimer. Melatonin also contains taurin, which is protection for liver, brain, nervous cells, mitochondria, and so on and so forth. So very interesting composition. And you have to take it with breaks. Remember that. Next, Fizzy Easy. Any seasonal changes require additional energy, and we're close to the completion of this webinar. But remember how we are connected to nature. Humans, for example, have art, animals don't. So it's the creation of our brain, poetry, music. And so what poems, what music do we have about spring? It's very light and joyful. But what is the music of autumn, even if you take Vivaldi or Tchaikovsky? It's very different poetry and music than the one about spring. So the main organ that influences our emotions here is liver, and it needs additional energy. And I already spoke about chlorophyll, but as to vitamins, then it's B vitamins. They are our energy vitamins. So here we do have a B complex, and also we have minerals. And I told you that magnesium is very important for liver, and magnesium is not stored in our body. It is constantly spent, but it takes part in the synthesis of all enzymes in the liver. And the next is potassium, which is inside muscle cells. And what muscle constantly works day and night? It's the heart muscle. But potassium will go to heart muscle only when there is enough magnesium. If there is a lack of magnesium, potassium will be in your blood, but it will not go to muscles. And then there will be problems with blood pressure and so on. But here it's all water soluble, so it will help you keep health and energy. And let's go to the last slide. You can reach all the information on our social networks, on our website. You can address a person who invited you to this webinar or ask your uplines to find out everything you're interested in. And maybe you're interested in additional questions and topics, let us know, and then we will consider them. And I would like to thank all those who stayed with us until the end, and to those who will also listen to the recording. And I would like to thank our dear interpreters with whom we are friends already. So English interpretation, Irina and Helena, and technical support, Natalia and Marita. And I would like to express another gratitude to the Foundation Live Consciously, that it allows us to meet here together and prepare such beautiful slides. I'm thankful. So what's next? Here you see we have an invitation to the next meeting with me that will happen on October 1st, and we will have interesting things there as always. And I wish every one of you be healthy. And remember, your body cannot transit from season to season, from year to year without your support, because we are all growing older, not younger. And let me give you an awful secret. Don't tell it to anyone. Now you know how to help your liver. You have everything for that. Goodbye.